Gump.
Welcome to the Reptile Gumbo podcast. This is episode 88. I'm pretty sure. I went back and listened to our episode last week, and I'm pretty sure I said episode 47 instead of 87. It was definitely 87, in case anybody was wondering. I'm sure no one gave two shits, but I noticed it. But we're on episode 88, and we're on our rotating co-host. This week we've got Rachel, because Katie's spending time with our daughter. Being a mom, someone's got to be a parent around here, and
it's definitely not you.
It wasn't going to be me, so Katie's doing it.
Well, we moved to today because I had to go be a good son last night.
Yeah,
and did a surprise birthday dinner for my mom with like 40 people, and she was completely surprised.
Was she happy about it?
She was very happy about it.
Sometimes people are surprised and not happy.
Oh no,
two different things.
She loved it.
Okay, and then next week we're also on Wednesday. So anybody listening, next week we're also on Wednesday. I probably got to find a guest for that at some point too.
Last week was 87.
87. So yes, we're on 88. So Rachel, we may need you next week also.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're moving it because of Lily. It's her birthday on Tuesday.
Fucking kids ruin everything.
Sorry.
Damn. Anyways, so we are next Wednesday. And you'll probably know what our next guest is when I know our next guest, because at this point I don't know. I planned Hottoberfest.
If you want to be on the show, get with us.
It's kind of where we're at this point. But I planned Hottoberfest. This is our last episode of Hottoberfest. I'm super excited. And we'll get to that in a minute because I'm going to get through all of our sponsors, and we don't have Katie here for but do you want to do the?
If you give them to me in enough advance, so I actually know.
I don't even have them. She's just in her phone saving notes. I know it starts with, if you're looking for a high quality PVC rack, something Lone Star Reptile Racks.com.
Good enough.
Yeah, Lone Star Reptile Racks.
If you listen to this regularly and you don't know who on the business is,
it's Robert. Just contact Robert and bother him.
Yeah.
Oh, look, my mushrooms are growing again. I know I talked about it last week, but they died, and now they're growing again.
Dude, Logan's are going crazy in his wine.
He's got mushrooms in his ice pods.
Well, we got them from you.
See, it's the dirt though. We all got the dirt from the same people.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. It looks cool. It looks like
it does look pretty neat.
It's fancy. So but yes, Lone Star Reptile Racks, Herp's Reptile Shows. Y'all just did a Herp's Reptile Show.
We did
in Temple.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you're not doing the one in Amarillo because that's on the other side of the country. Also known as the other side of Texas.
I mean, I would do it if I could get materials to build racks.
Yeah, that's everybody's issue.
Yeah.
PVC does not exist anymore.
Like Lafayette next weekend's probably going to be a bunch of white racks.
You're going to end up seeing a whole bunch of wood racks coming back at some point.
It's ugly.
Metal.
Got
it. No wood. Metal.
Yeah, but metal, you have to like have a fabricator, and that's a lot.
We know people.
But so there's Temple. We just had that. Amarillo, and then Lafayette is the week after that, right?
Yes.
Back to Louisiana. I haven't been back to Louisiana in a while. Who says they have MDF? That must be Max. I bet that's Max. It says Facebook user. I can tell you right now, no one's using MDF. It may not be Max. It may be. Anyways, I hate MDF. You've never built anything out of MDF.
Sure I have.
Not a snake rack though, right?
No, I used to build speaker boxes.
Yeah, so those are made to be dry.
Shit, that might be a good thing to do the next couple of weeks. Build
speaker boxes. New shifting business plan.
You can always sell secret. Dude, I'm right now. It's whatever I can do to keep it open.
It's so. Did you want to talk about, since we're talking about shows? I know you wanted to talk about somebody who made comments online about shows.
Oh yeah. Where the hell's my phone?
Where is your phone?
I got it right here. I take it off the table so if it vibrates, it doesn't.
Douglas Ray White will take a white hatchling rack.
Well, Doug, the holdup on yours is the damn tubs. But
yeah,
we still got a week.
I was like, you're not.
Keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, you're not the only one.
I just threw myself off. So I have our Facebook page pulled up, and then on there, it's playing the video from last week's podcast. And I can see me, and I can see you, and then I see me pick up something. Like, wait, I'm not doing that. And I realize it's not live video. That's last week.
Apparently, I forgot to screenshot.
Let me go ahead and scroll off.
Picture of it.
Oh, in the video, I'm pointing out my new calendar. The calendar's now on the wall. If you look behind me, my Brittany Gobble calendar.
Yeah.
Is now on the wall.
Awesome. I haven't even looked at mine yet.
It doesn't start till January, so you get this picture
right for 3 months.
For 3 months, but
so we might as well just get it out of the way.
Go ahead.
The Temple show this weekend was probably the worst show I've ever seen.
not due to the show itself.
Absolutely. I'm about to say that. They're just people right now the economy's down. You know, anybody who buys groceries ought to know that there's shortages on everything.
Yeah.
And that prices are up like crazy. I mean, my raw material cost is almost triple what it was this time in April. So we had a show this weekend. It was really slow. You know, Sean was pretty upset himself, obviously, because he cares about us making money, unlike a lot of other show promoters. And I mean, I could think of one other that's really good. And anyway, so Sean put a post on our vendor group about that. And this guy commented, I don't know who he is or, you know, why he was even in the vendor group, because he's not a vendor. I mean, people join because they're going to vend. Basically said that because he had been to one show,
the one previous temple show.
There's been two. He was the first temple.
One.
Then he came to the second one and he was upset because it was the same vendors. No one was wearing a mask. What else did he say?
Yeah, but we already discussed this. COVID doesn't exist in Texas.
But yeah, basically gave everybody a big fuck you. It's obvious that the guy's a failure himself. And
how do you feel?
Yeah, just wants to come shit on everybody else. And then he sent our friend Chris Eaton a message because Chris commented and asked him, you know, basically, can't argue with rock solid grammar like that, dude. Seriously, just go the fuck away.
I'm very upset. I was the first one to make fun of the guy.
Yeah, he never. So he messaged Chris this
me.
long diatribe, and Chris asked, "Who are you?" And the guy goes, "It doesn't matter." And Chris is like, "No, it doesn't matter now." And Chris goes, "No, you're wrong. It never mattered," which I thought was a great response, Chris. But yeah, so this guy just decided to shit on the whole show experience based on his very limited sample size, and is obviously just a miserable fuck.
Well, and like all shows right now are suffering. I mean, I saw some footage of shows that went on this weekend from other places around the country, and there were like 2 people walking around the entire show at one point. So a lot of shows, anything that involves spending money right now is really suffering.
A friend of mine that was vending a show somewhere else in the country was like sending me pictures like, holy shit, bro, this is bad. But I honestly don't think it has anything to do. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the way Sean and the other guys are promoting the shows. It's just where we are right now.
People don't have the money to spend.
October is notoriously a slow time in the reptile in the whole industry. But last year, everybody, especially people who like me, who last year was their first year, you know, doing it full time, got spoiled because of the COVID money.
Yes. No more free COVID money.
There was a stimulus check that came out in mid-September last year?
There was one towards the beginning and one towards the middle. There were 2 of them.
There was 3 of them.
3 of them. That's right. 3 of them.
So everybody had money this time last year.
Yeah.
Had free money basically to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like you know, Lana said retail in general is slow right now. I know our friend John Grant has said that his store, you know, it's been slow, but he's been doing this his whole life, and you know, he's always been involved with the pet store in one way or another. And he's the first to tell you that this is just a slow time of year.
Yeah.
And I think topping it off with the inflation that we're seeing, and
what got me was the guy was his bad mouthing of the herp shows was that the shows are full of vendors who just want to hang out with each other, which is true. Like, we want to make money,
right,
while also hanging out with each other. That's why we're all there. Like, I don't understand. That's not a negative.
We don't want some fucking miserable ass.
I mean, I've been
to soldier fly guy sitting over by himself,
which is no knock on our black soldier fly friends.
No,
over at why did my brain just went blank? It's sim shit. No, not sim shit. I've got it right here. Simton. I knew I was gonna put a P in it. That was the problem.
They're good people.
I was gonna put a P in it.
This was not them.
I just don't want to mispronounce it. But yeah, it's rough everywhere, and it will be for a little while. I think, like I said in our private chat, I think online sales are also hurting some of the shows. I mean, it's very easy to do stuff online, but people still like going to shows, and those numbers are down too. People just can't afford to go to shows to go do stuff. It'll turn around. Just takes time.
There's still people coming, but they're coming as a day filler.
Yeah.
You know, a way to walk around.
Lose not purchasing.
The non-animal people who don't sell animals did well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're walking through and you're like, well, I can't afford to buy you a snake and a setup right now, but I can buy you this toy.
Yeah.
So those vendors, did okay this weekend. I don't think anybody did great, but like I kept saying, you can't win them all. They can't all be June Conroe.
True.
They can't all be June Slidell or May Slidell, whenever it was.
So yeah, I saw that post and I was like, well, that dude's a dipshit, and he's also gone now, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, fuck him.
I like that dude. So, anyways,
if he has a problem with it, he hears us. Come visit us next time there's a show in Temple, and we can discuss it.
I will gladly discuss it
Mm-hmm.
calmly. I'll discuss it.
Yeah,
calmly.
absolutely. No, we just talk about it. We'll show you around and show you how great the show actually is.
Yeah.
Maybe we can show you something that you haven't seen.
Yeah, it drives me nuts when folks go to a show and they're like, it's all ball pythons. Now I have been to some smaller shows where it is definitely like 90% ball pythons. And we were like, there's nothing else there. I'm like, well, no, you just didn't take the time to look on the tables
Right
where the other shit was.
Because there was some cool shit there this weekend.
I saw there was
that
something.
one guy had that big pine snake that was.
Mm-hmm.
Was there someone had a white-eyed crocodile skink on a table? I've never seen a white-eyed crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't either.
So
Russell had some Morlets.
Yeah, fuck that.
Crocs, some little ones.
No, I'll pass. Those little ones turn into big ones.
Yeah.
So that's I'll pass on that. Russell can keep all that. Him and his barefoot self out there playing with crocodiles.
Yeah.
Fucking hippies with crocodiles. But also
right.
want to mention my brain is just scrambled. It's the different night is what it is. I planned for it last night. Our buddies, the Ruas over at Wiregrass Exotics in Ozark, Alabama. If you're over in that area of Alabama, Georgia, Florida, go visit them. They're great people. Get all your feeders there. You can see their venomous snakes, because again, we're talking about venomous stuff tonight. And then I still got to point out my amazing sign here made by Focus Cubed, because I saw a picture on Sean's thing for the new store, and it just shows like the little light up like part of the counter that they made for them.
Well,
I'm ready to see that.
He's not spilling the beans on what that was. You and I know what it was because we've seen the material. But because I know that Ashley's in here, but yeah, I noticed it when y'all were getting it that day at the plastic supplier. Whenever we were out there talking, I knew what those two colors were.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and the grand opening of the Herps Reptile Shop in Bryan, Texas is on
13th.
November 13th. So, oh shit, it's in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 weeks, and we'll be in Bryan, Texas for the guys. So we'll see
will
Chris
be here.
Eaton. Yeah, Chris Eaton will be there. Awesome.
He might have Donato with him, he said.
Sweet. I don't think no one's ever met Donato. We just hear stories about Donato. So that'll be awesome. So anyways, let's get to our guest, because I'm super excited. I did the 2021 version of research and watched a bunch of YouTube videos.
That's what I was
do the same
doing
thing.
as a walk
I know
in.
when you walked in, I knew when you walked in, I heard, I was like, oh, I watched that one already. So I want to bring in our guest, Nathaniel Frank from MToxins Venom Lab. How's it going, Nathaniel?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Awesome. I was excited to get you on here because I'm excited to hear about the whole process. I've watched several videos of people visiting your place, and we'll talk about your place in a second, because the videos I've seen, that newer place, you've moved in there with like the last year or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
That place looks great. But the whole process of venom extraction, I think, is for a lot of people is a misconception, because a lot of people are like, just if you get bit by a snake, you just go get some snake venom from a snake out in the wild, you'll be fine, and you make anti-venom and you're fine. But so if you want to explain what MToxins is, and then we can kind of get into like the process of how all that works.
Sure. So we're a high volume venom production facility for snakes for Asia, the Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, and South America. And we do scorpion venoms for Africa as well. We're a little unique that we're the only venom lab in North America that does invertebrates. Pretty much we're the only ones that are doing international venom contracts right now.
Yeah, so y'all do centipedes, which is
centipedes, tarantulas.
Horrifying.
Oh, it's fun.
Like
It's
milking a
a lot
centipede,
of fun.
milking a centipede's got to be scary. Because I saw in one video you talked about you have one species that can like actually kill people.
Correct. Yeah, but we anesthetize them, and so you've got a good solid minute and a half before they wake up in your hand. So you just have to be pretty quick. You just got to be goddamn quick and get them out of your hand.
It's like putting the pin back in a grenade, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like,
Just
oh, do we have a minute
yeet
and a
it
half?
back and yeet it back
Is
in
it a
the
minute and a half or
enclosure.
a minute and 15 seconds? How much do we have?
Yeah.
Those yeah, the centipedes are out of all of them. Well, one thing I found in my mass research of watching YouTube videos, the one thing I was surprised to hear you say that you don't like handling is actually one of my favorite venomous snakes on earth, and that's the Eastern Diamondback.
Well, I mean, I say I don't like handling them because when you go to face an Eastern Diamondback to get it out of its enclosure, we don't play with small ones. We have some pretty big boys and girls, and it's the Easterns don't scare me. They're just incredibly powerful and can really rock your world if you're not on your A game. And so it's just a big, huge, intimidating snake that has a bad disposition, but it goes with the territory. It's part of the job, you know.
And that's funny because like granted I've worked with them, but I've never had to milk them, which is a totally different thing. Shifting them from one cage to another, feeding them, taking care of them is completely different than having to put hands on them. But the
Right.
thing that always scared me would be something like cobras and mambas, things that are fast and smart. Those are the ones that scare me the most. Or wouldn't might say scare. They make me think twice before I'd work with them.
Right. Our staff, one thing we try to teach people, and especially people who, I don't know if this will be a topic that's brought up, but especially free handlers, what we try to say is, when you're doing general maintenance on your collection of venomous, typically you're not going to see those animals in their most defensive stances, right? Whereas when we extract venom, I've seen snakes do things that are inexplainable, and it's crazy because people don't think about that. So I'm just bringing that up because like my staff get to see these animals really be defensive, but when we're just cleaning enclosures and everything, it just gives them like extra knowledge of how that snake can turn and be difficult to work with, if that makes sense.
No, I get that totally. Like I said, I've worked with like gaboons and our native rattlesnakes and all, and when you're just shifting them around or feeding them or moving them, they're very placid. Then when you watch something like the videos where you're having to grab them by the head, it's very different reaction from that snake, because at that point that snake's in like survival mode. And I can imagine a 6 or 7 foot Eastern Diamondback is not going to be happy, and that head is massive on one of those guys.
Right. And then, it's funny because, every snake is an individual. One of our biggest Easterns just lays on the table and lets us do it, but we have others that'll, they'll lunge right off the table at you because they know what's about to happen. So
let's say, by the time you've milked them 2, 3, 4 times, they probably have an idea, especially something like a cobra. A cobra has learned, all right, you open the tub, we know what's coming next, and the whole process, right?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I don't particularly think cobras are all that intelligent. They're just incredibly observant of what's going on. But they know that after they're extracted from, they get food, and they do understand that. So, a lot of them will tolerate the handling, knowing that there's a reward coming at the end. At least it seems that way. I don't have scientific proof of it, but the majority, like our monocle cobras, the majority of them will come out without any defensive display, not put up a fight at all, let us extract, and then the second they're back in the tub, they have a meal. So I think they get used to that routine, and that's why they're patient with it.
That whole routine is also impressive because, so we'll mention free handlers. You watch people on YouTube usually with venomous snakes, and it is very much, hey, look how big my dick is. And they'll hold the snake and show the snake and then talking. Yours is within basically I saw everything was like 30 seconds. You get it out, you milk it, you have it back in a clean tub with food within like 30 seconds.
That we strive to not exceed a minute. Sometimes it happens, but there's, my staff is exceptional, and they've got tubs at the ready, prepped water dishes, prepped prey items, everything ready to go so that we put that snake through the least amount of drama as possible, because a lot of other venom labs won't admit it, but there's a fair amount of venomous snakes that are lost in venom extraction because of stress. And so what we try to do is minimize that stress by not only giving them like a long amount of time between extractions, but also not forcing them to bite when they come up to the vessel. If a snake doesn't feel like biting that day, we're not going to force it. And then, also just leaving them alone, because it is such a stressful process. And I don't think a lot of people, especially in the general public, realize how fragile snakes truly are, and how easily they can get stressed. So, grabbing them by the head and having them bite something, they're fighting for their life at that point.
Yeah, that well, and it's obvious when watching the different videos I saw, is that you're not that roadside attraction where you come by and you watch people milk snakes and they show you squeezing the head and the giant fangs and they hold it up to the window. Yours is it's a business that you can watch and come in and see stuff, but it is not for show.
Yeah, I mean, we do our venom shows, like for our normal hours, they're on the hour at the top of each hour, but it's all stuff we're contractually needing to extract from. So it's always varied. Like some days people are seeing us do king cobras and gaboon vipers. The next day they may see us doing monocle cobras and rhino vipers. It just depends, where our schedule is. And, sometimes, if I'm feeling off, which it's a big part of our safety protocol, people come in, they don't get to see venom extractions. They can see the rest of the zoo. But we always try in every regard to put our animals' welfare first.
That's awesome. Because I mean, I've been to some like roadside attraction type things in Florida where it definitely doesn't seem that way. It's definitely more show than anything else.
Yeah, and we like to play with the monocle cobras. I say play like an idiot, but they're so attentive. But I always bring out a monocle cobra because they hood up for the kids, and stuff like that. And we have a person narrating through the entire show, talking about. Well, it's dependent on the age group, but we talk about venom composition and where this venom goes and how anti-venom's made and all that kind of stuff. So there is a little bit of a show part to it, but that's just, again, not at the detriment to the animal.
Go
ahead. So you say high volume venom lab. What constitutes you as a high volume venom lab? How much are y'all actually doing?
I mean, we're just shy of 600 snakes, which there's venom labs like Kentucky Reptile Zoo has thousands of snakes. They'd be considered, extremely high volume too. Reptile Discovery Center in DeLand as well, Carl Barden over there. But I mean, we produce, I guess, large multiple gram sales would be how I would explain it. So, we're not selling like a normal customer like 200 or 300 milligrams. They're buying like 10 grams of black mamba, 20 grams of green mamba, etc. So we're constantly producing just that high volume of product for our customer base.
Well, I think one of the most interesting things is that you're not selling liquid venom to people. Like that's when they say grams, it's that powdered venom, right? That's what you're actually selling.
Correct.
So what you're watching when someone collects venom is all that liquid, and you're getting rid of all the liquid and you're down to just the powder. So you're really
Correct.
getting less than what is inside of a vial of of venom when you're milking them.
That's correct. And we also centrifuge our venoms, because when a snake bites, this is more so vipers than Elapidae, but Viperidae always gives them tissue, sometimes some blood, when they bite the vessel. So what we do is we centrifuge that out, so it's even more pure of a product. And that's one of the reasons why we're so anti-massaging venom glands, and that's because you're just pumping tissue into the venom, which customers don't want to buy snake gum tissue, they want to buy venom. So we try to really, purify that out, which makes it even less than what you see inside uh, the vessel being collected.
So what's the percentage difference between what you collect versus once you run it through that whole process? Like how much do you lose?
Honestly, I don't know. I've never really done the math. Like we know that 5 milliliters of Bothrops mugini after it's centrifuged and freeze dried will equate to about 340 to 380 milligrams, but it depends on the snake. So certain contracts, we have that information down to a science, but the majority, it's whatever the snake is going to give. And, when we lyophilize, it's kind of an unknown about how much. It's just rough estimates,
I'm still, the whole process amazes me. Like I said, I've watched several times of you doing it, and just how fast you grab them behind the head. It's completely different than when you watch anybody else doing it. Where they're just like, "Hey, let me show you the snake." It's very like they sneak up behind it and they slowly get it. Yours is very quick. So I had one of our listeners wanted to basically see your hand and see if you had all your fingers.
They're all there.
You're doing better than the roadside attraction I saw in Florida. So I know they asked if you'd been envenomated, and I know the answer to this, but have you been envenomated?
I have.
It was 3 times last I heard, right? That was
three times, 3 of the most largest embarrassments of my life. Hands down.
The one I was not surprised by, because I know the way the teeth are shaped, but you got bit by a stiletto, right?
That was the first envenomation I had. Yeah.
Was that one of those situations where it just reached out? It kind of like, because I know there's the ones that if you don't grab it right, they can still get you.
Oh, they can get you really easily. And all 3 envenomations, and we can talk about them as much or as little as you want. But that stiletto envenomation, they have this behavior where when they're kind of being defensive or brought out of an enclosure, they thrash back and forth. And I had the snake out. It was on the table, and I very stupidly set my right hand down very close to it. It got startled. It turned, and my hand was in the way. The snake wasn't even attempting to envenomate me. It was more so I put my hand too close, and it pushed a fang into the end of my middle finger of my right hand. And that was the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my entire life.
Oh. So, and there's no, well, at the time, I don't know now, but you said there was no anti-venom, so you just had to go through the pain.
Well, that was the stupid thing. We were doing a study to prove that no anti-venom can treat a stiletto snake bite. And I knew that the preliminary results of the other species I sent over to Dr. Brian Fry in Australia, we had already known that the majority of the species, there was nothing that could be done. This was one of the last species to test. And so the minute that I saw that single drop of blood on the end of my finger, I went, well, this is going to fucking be fun. And and luckily I didn't lose my finger. I took what we call, well, in Wisconsin, in this part of Wisconsin, we call the flight for life. They flew me on the helicopter down to the southern part of the state and had me in ICU there. No, it was a $50,000 helicopter ride. But they got me down there, and all they could do was pain management. And so I don't know if you guys know what Dilaudid is. It's like way more, yeah. So the pain was so bad, they actually cut into my carotid artery, ran a line directly to my heart, and were pumping Dilaudid in my heart to get me through the pain of that bite. Yeah. Yeah, there's some pretty great pictures from that time.
What's just funny is like you think of all the different species you have in there, and that's not the one people are going to go, oh man, that'd be horrible to get bit by. Because I mean, everybody's gonna think mambas and king cobras, but it's a different kind of thing. I imagine, especially when there's not an antivenom, you're just having to ride everything out.
Right. And what was really comical was I had already been assisting poison control in the state on some keepers that were getting bit quite regularly here. And so I'm getting ready, loaded onto the helicopter, and my phone is ringing, and it's the hospital asking for help to treat the snake bite victim, and I was the victim. So
I'll be right there. I'll tell you when I get there.
Right. Like, God damn it, give me a break. Working on
That's what you'd be like, all right, do I get a discount?
Yeah, exactly. And with insurance, we had to laugh because health insurance covered almost 100% of that bite. And what we were thinking is, think about the poor guy at the insurance agency that like gets a claim for a rare African snake bite victim, and he just went, okay, and they just covered it.
He's like, fuck it, give him the money. We're not.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened here, but just it's approved. So
is he still alive? Yes, give him the money.
Yeah,
fuck it.
Give him the money. Yeah.
So what kind of venom do they have?
So they have a venom that's full of metalloproteinase, and it just eats flesh and melts bone.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What they do, the way they evolved to go into rodent burrows and thrash their heads side to side. And what that does is they're one of the most volatile, tempered animals, period. They go in, they kill everything in the rodent burrow, whether they're going to eat it or not. And then they go and they eat their fill, and they just leave carnage behind. So it's total like pre-digestive enzymes. It's just liquefies their prey. It's quite fascinating to see. But yeah, they'll go down and kill every single pink that might be down there or whatever, eat a couple of them, and go to another burrow.
It's just a Quentin Tarantino movie in a hole.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
That's it. But I said, I knew when I heard that you got bit by that, I was like, that's got to be an interesting one. Because I know for anybody out there that doesn't know, their teeth, their fangs are not like normal fangs. They can reach out the side of their mouth, and they can reach back. Like they can. It's like if you hold them too close to the head, like they're a weird fucking snake.
It's like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're terrible. They're terrible little bastards. They really are.
Well, and so you talk about the life flight was $50,000. I think that's something that people out there that want to get a venomous snake should hear more of. The person that went to a show and bought a monocle cobra for $150 off a table, and they're going to put it in that glass tank and put some books on top of the screen lid. All right, well, your ass obviously couldn't afford that snake. You can't afford the $50,000 flight in the helicopter to save your life. On top of the antivenom you're going to need.
Wait a minute. Wait. I might need to change my. Is that wrong to put just books on top of it?
No, go ahead. It's good.
Okay.
Encyclopedias. If you still find encyclopedias. I can't lie. Our first boa, we totally put encyclopedias on top of our first boa's tank when I was in like first grade. We were that guy, but I'm not that guy anymore now. I don't have encyclopedias, so now I just put old computers on top of there.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with the old laptops when they don't work anymore?
Well, it's one of those things with that people really don't get is that they don't understand the danger. Like most of the people that mentored me, brought me in, they've never been bitten in 40 plus years of venomous handling, and that's because they understand the danger involved and they take precautions and they use tools. Nowadays, it's like people just jump into it, and I don't think there's enough respect for just how seriously these animals can mess you up. And I always hear it from a lot of different people. It made me a pariah in the venomous community quite a bit because people are, free handling fucking mambas. And I'm just sitting there going, do you know how quick that thing can turn and bite you? And you're going to be full respiratory paralysis in 30 minutes. I mean, they don't get it. that snake doesn't have a bond to you. It doesn't like you. It's tolerating you. And
But I gave it a cute name,
yeah,
and it loves me.
Yeah. Every time I walk by, it comes out of its hide because it wants to come out.
I love that one. It's moving in front of its cage all the time. It just wants to be out and held.
It's funny because I have very, very close friends that free handle, and I'm just a dick to them about it. Ultimately,
As you should be.
Ultimately, as a libertarian, do whatever you want, and just don't infringe on anybody else. And but I try to remind them, and to a lot of people, anytime you go on the internet and you do something stupid with an animal, you're just fanning the flames.
Yep.
And to think these idiots that do this shit, they think it doesn't have any repercussions, but there's people trying to start a serpentarium in Florida, and all of that free handling stuff was thrown against that individual by the leadership of the county and the city as reasons why they shouldn't be trusted. So, you sit there and you talk your shit that it's your animal and you have a bond. You don't have a fucking bond. A snake doesn't bond to you. It can't. It tolerates you. And it just drives me absolutely insane. So that's my little 2-second rant on free handling.
Don't worry. We bitch about them all the time.
All the time.
I can hate them.
Then let's keep going.
I know I would like to have a venomous one day, but I refuse to even think about it unless I have spent a good amount of time with somebody who knows what they're doing before I bring that into my home.
Yes.
As
Like,
you
I'm
should, yes.
talking like a year or two with somebody who knows.
And we're going to move to a county where
Yeah, we gotta be.
Yeah, well,
we gotta
obviously
move.
I can't.
I need to move
here,
500 yards that way, and then I'm good.
but I want to have the correct enclosure for it and the knowledge and not comfortable. That's not the right word. The respect I need to do what's right.
Well, and that's the thing. I started out in the worst way possible, and that's what I try to tell people not to do. I mean, the first venomous that I was really handling regularly was a 9-foot female black mamba.
Well, that seems bad.
That was how I started. So it's kind of funny. Like, I was taking care of mambas and cobras, but I had never, handled a rattlesnake or a copperhead or anything like that. So I started the absolute wrong way to do it. And that's why I try to preach to people, study and find someone that they don't even have to be someone that's reputable, just someone that takes clean, good care of their animals, that can teach you the physiology that makes them dangerous and how to combat it with good hooking techniques, and how to feed, them properly and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, I don't know.
Well, it's funny you talked earlier about a lot of folks that brought you into this that have never been bit. When I was a zookeeper, I'd always get asked, if I'd been bit. I was like, no, I'm good at my job. Like,
Right.
I know where the bitey end is. And it's completely different for you because you have to go grab the bitey end. My job didn't require me to do that. I mean, and I'm not going to.
There's no reason as a private venomous keeper that you should ever be bitten. And if you are bitten, you should be embarrassed because you failed to handle that animal. You failed to do right in your control of that animal. I take full responsibility for my 3 envenomations. Those were me making bad decisions, and I paid the price for it. Literally the price for it. So, but yeah, it's people just need to think more before they buy that $80 Gaboon Viper at a show. And I don't want to bash the vendors either. I went to I was at the Midwest Venom Fest and went out there to kind of scope it out and buy some animals. And I saw every vendor checking IDs and looking at legislation, the laws for the area the person's license indicated.
I didn't think about that. That's you have to know what state they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the thing. to me, it was a really responsible venomous show. But you know, people can still bullshit and get stuff off of King Snake or Fauna. You know, and it's easy enough to make yourself sound like a professional.
Yeah.
You know, to trick a vendor to ship you an animal, but you know, anyway.
When you talk about like, we know several people have gotten bit also,
Mhm.
and they'll be the first ones to tell you they fucked up. Like they know 100% it was their fault. And so I fully believe any bite from a venomous snake in private, like not as a wild animal, is 100% the keeper's fault.
Absolutely.
Well, when I got bit was by a wild cottonmouth, but it was my fault. I stepped on him and I was wearing flip flops, cleaning up hurricane debris like an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, shit happens.
Yeah.
You know, I know a field herper who was herping down in Florida and in flip flops and stepped on a pygmy and got bit on the big toe by a pygmy. You know, I mean, it happens.
Mhm.
But in private keeping, I'm still a firm believer it never should. Close calls aren't cool. Bites aren't cool.
I
It's,
agree.
you know, and we've helped treat some gnarly bites. And those people have continued to free handle after that point.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Stupid.
I was trying to find it. We talked last week. I can't find the yeah, but we talked last week because we saw a picture of someone using a beaded lizard for
Mhm.
like a public outreach thing with a kid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And someone the guy like commented on our thing, said, "Listen to our podcast. I appreciate listening. I still think it's fucking crazy. I would not have a venomous animal of any sort for a kid to hold a thing. But you milk beadeds and you milk Gilas. Where would you rank them? I mean, obviously they're venomous. So, I mean, they're high, but I mean, how dangerous do you rank those guys?
I mean, you know, the venom's going to make you wish you were dead. But I think the worst thing is the bite because they don't let go.
Yeah.
And they just keep grinding into you. You know, but I have I do occasionally I'll do a beaded lizard or a Gila monster extraction outside of the venom lab, you know, so people can watch closer. And excuse me, I've turned them around and extended the tail and the body to let people touch them, but I'm in control of that head.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that's the way I do it. I've never handed a Gila or a beaded off to anyone else to hold unless they were staff of mine.
And
But
that's different. The picture we saw was a small child sitting on the floor with a beaded lizard sitting on the floor in front of them.
yeah, that's idiotic.
I loved you start like, what word can I use?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound as bad as what I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because again, people think they can trust a lot of these animals and whatnot, and you know, like what I always say is I have black mambas that I firmly believe I could reach into their cage, grab them, and put them around my neck and never be bitten. But those snakes can turn on a dime. You know, so can those lizards. Just one thing pisses them off, and now it's like the jaws of life. I mean, those things
Yeah.
grab, they bite, they do not let go.
Well, the way you extract venom from them is very interesting because most people are used to seeing the snakes bite onto the little glass and the venom runs down, but it doesn't work with a beaded lizard because I mean, one, it'll just break the glass. You just have a beaded lizard with a mouthful of
Right.
glass.
Yeah.
Right.
So will you explain that process of how y'all did that, and is that something that you learned or something that you were taught, or how'd that go?
Honestly, it was kind of a mixture. My mentor had never really done them, but I had an idea about using. I come from the diesel engine industry, and so my whole thing was, well, if I use a pliable hose like a heater hose, you know, like from AutoZone, sterilize it, and have the lizard bite it, it's strong enough to hold up to the constant chewing, and the venom just runs down the sterile tube into a collection vessel. And that works really, really, really well. And then we can just keep sterilizing it and reusing it. So it's heater hose from a car, basically. and they get their lower jaw working, and those grooved teeth start delivering the venom, and it just drips right off their jaw and the tube right into the primary vessel.
So you don't think about someone milking a Gila monster, and that whole process is very interesting. Doesn't have fangs. It seems very weird. What?
Yeah, it's their teeth. The teeth in their bottom jaw are incredibly impressive. You have to really be like pretty close while you're extracting, but they are massive, massive teeth. It's you can see why a bite's so painful when you get to see them up close.
So what's the hardest thing, other than, I know you said the Eastern Diamondback is very strong, but what is the hardest thing you have to milk? The one that you're like, oh man, I don't want to do this again.
No, if I had to go across everything that we work with, I would say assassin bugs are the biggest pain in the ass to get venom from.
I didn't realize you milk. Okay. How do you milk an assassin bug?
Very carefully.
You don't know what the assassin bug is?
No, we basically. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, Rachel didn't know what they are. And Sean, so we have a buddy who does venomous. We call him Nine Finger Sean. So you can probably figure out why. But Nine Finger Sean sells assassin bugs. They sell like 5 of them in a cup. They stab in like a cricket, and then they eat them from the inside.
Which ones they are then.
Yeah, those things. Like if you were to get stung by one, they would hurt like crazy. It would burn. So, but he milks them, which I find extremely fascinating that you can milk them.
We basically bring them up to a vessel with parafilm on it, a scientific film. We do that, and we get them up there, and then what was I going to say? We electrostimulate the protuberous, the proboscis, I should say, and get a couple drops, and then we micropipette that up, and that's how we get it done.
That's very similar to how you do like Black Widows, right? You have to use
yes,
electricity
and
for
scorpions too. Yeah, scorpions too.
That's crazy. I knew you had done spiders and that you had the centipedes, but I didn't know that assassin. What is assassin bug venom? Is it just for research purposes? I mean, are they like? There's no reason for an anti-venom there, right?
No, we can't say why we're doing it.
Gotcha.
Just we're okay to say we are doing it, but not for whom.
It's the government, and they're putting it into your drinking water, people. That's what he's saying.
That's right. It's all, and it was Trump's fault. He did it.
It's in that shot they're trying to give you. It's all full of
it's part of Bill Gates' population control.
Helps produce adrenochrome so that we can harvest it from children.
Exactly.
We've broke it. All right.
We better stop. We've said every buzzword the fucking NSA is here, but
shut down. Oh God. So I asked you what question we wanted to ask this week to our listeners. And I had a little more too, but we said we asked everybody what their favorite venomous snake was and why, and then I also asked, would they ever keep it? Why or why not?
Okay, we got a ton of answers.
There were a ton of answers there, so I wanted to go through several of our answers. A lot of them had the same answer for the would you keep it, why or why not. So we'll get to that. But our buddy Drew Schultz at the Learning Zoo said Atrox or Horridus, so Western Diamondback rattlesnake for anybody out there, or timber rattlesnake or canebrake, depending on where you live. Said such iconic snakes, and I love that we're learning so much about their social behavior in the last few years. I probably never keep venomous, but they are certainly his favorite. I like them. I mean, all right. I like Eastern Dime.
To me, in Wisconsin, we have two native rattlesnakes, and Crotalus horridus are, our primary rattlesnake here, and I can totally get that because they're fascinating and beautiful.
Are yours up there very dark? I just imagine being colder up there, you'd have a very dark population.
When they emerge from the dens, they're like pitch black, and then they lighten up through the season. Kind of like how we'll see like people that keep captive Australian elapids. They'll see that, right? Like winter color, summer color type of shit. Huh. I mean, it's not like a chameleon or anything, It's just it just lightens up ever so much, where it goes from a lot of blacks to a lot of browns.
They're an interesting snake for the simple fact of how much range they have. We talked to Dr. Green last week, and because of that range, there's definitely differences in venom from canebrake here versus one in Virginia or one in Wisconsin.
Correct.
So when you're milking those, I'm assuming you're getting them from everywhere and milking them all together, so you have all of it.
Well, it depends. We don't do the anti-venom for North America. For the Crofab or the Anavitman, or Anavip, as we do it a lot with timber rattlesnake is by locality. So, if we have specimens that are native here and we have specimens that are out of, specific geographic locations out east, so we can give our customers, do you want the heavy neurotoxic, heavy hemo, etc. So we usually don't pull it together. It's determined by what the customer wants locality wise.
So can you tell us which locality would be more hemotoxic versus neurotoxic? I mean,
it's where they're traditionally called cane breaks, they are way more neurotoxic. Way more neurotoxic.
They'll just shut down our whole system and we'll die. Awesome.
No one needs to breathe. No one needs to breathe.
It's overrated.
Right? It is.
Let's see. Going back to some of these, Alton Harris said boom slings because it looks
they're wonderful.
And it's a highly venomous colubrid, which is pretty cool. I would absolutely not keep one. I get bit all the time from my Aunt Theresia already, and they can't kill me. That was one of the reasons a lot of folks that honor things that they would not keep them because they get bit by the snake all the time. And I get it. I get where they're going with that, but in reality, you would not hold your boom sling the same way you hold your spotted python. It's just not gonna happen.
Correct.
There was a picture posted on our Facebook page, our group page this week that I thought was really interesting. If I can find it, but it was there it is. It's a boom sling and a non-venomous. Gotta pull it up. They were like identical.
It's probably a Thracops.
Yes.
The snakes in the genus Thracops. Yeah. I'm going to pronounce it wrong.
It was like Maru tree snake.
Yeah, there's Thracops occidentalis is I think the species name. They look identical to boom slings. I mean,
like the scale count on the face was the same.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane.
That's a
and there's
really
there's Thracops jacksoni too. That one looks a lot like a like a boom sling too.
But I just remember seeing boom slings. You don't see any snake stuff on TV anymore. But when I was a kid, it's always like it's a green snake in a tree.
That Facebook user is Todd Autry.
Oh, hey Todd. This is one. Connor Roberts. This is one I would not think of. A Roatan coral snake. They said it's beautiful from Roatan Island. I would be down to keep and breed them if it comes to it.
That'd be fascinating.
I've never seen a Roatan. The only reason I know how to pronounce Roatan is because I know that cruise ships go there.
Yep,
that's all I know.
Wow, that's an interesting looking coral. It's all
like a mud snake almost.
Yeah, it looks like almost like a mud snake if the banding came all the way around it.
Speaking of mud snakes, I was watching Beetlejuice the other night. We showed our daughter Beetlejuice for the first time because as a kid, I watched Beetlejuice like 5 million times a week as a kid. Loved it. There's a scene where he hands 2 snakes to the dad. One is a king snake of some sort, and the other one looks a lot like a mud snake. I can't get it to stop slow enough. And if you look online, they say it's some sort of South American milk snake or whatever, but it looks a lot like a mud snake.
Go herping this weekend.
I agree. You're not going to show, and we'll go herping this weekend.
Let's go herping.
So, anyways,
must be nice to be able to do that. It's like getting down to freezing at night here. You fuckers.
We got a cold front today, and it got down to 70.
Oof.
Chilly. Poor you.
Our low Friday night is 48.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really cold.
That's fun.
We're 10 miles from the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, we're in Texas, so winter is not the same. I'm here for a reason. I will never move north. I'm never shoveling a damn driveway in my life.
I'll tell you, in February when we get a couple weeks in negative 40, there's no better way to live.
What, at home?
That just shut everybody up.
Yeah.
John Felix said, did you know you're constantly dying with a timeline of 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the person, but then you breathe and restart it? Okay. I guess that works.
It's like, and unfortunately, we can't go to Amarillo, John. It's a supply issue.
Yeah,
And it's the other side of the country.
I had to deliver that
country is
bad
Texas.
news to all
Yeah.
the customers that have pre-orders today, and luckily they all understood.
Supply stuff sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah,
A lot.
So let's go back to some. Ryan Goslow said, out of all of them, it would have to be the beautiful pit viper, which I don't know what that is.
I don't
I
know which
imagine
one
it's-
he's talking about.
He says, I'm gonna fucking butcher this name. Trimersurus venustus.
Oh, Venustus. Yeah, they're beautiful. They are absolutely stunning.
There's a picture of. He posted a picture of it. It's a very dark tree viper. But I mean, it's cool. Everybody likes what they like.
oh
but he's-
yeah, that is pretty.
yeah. He said he hopes to have one of those. Derek Dykstra.
And it's purple and green.
What
Yeah.
It is
Yes.
a fucking.
Yeah, it's like a dark purple.
It
Yeah.
is a herp show snake.
Oh, well, see, that picture's a young one. That's a baby, though. When they get older, that purple gets darker. And everybody listening right now is like,
Yeah, we're
No
giving
idea.
great radio here, Chris.
great radio for. Look at this picture on our computer. You can't see.
Yeah,
But Derek Dykstra said it's so hard to pick just one. If I had to, it would be the emerald horn pit viper, endemic to the Sierra Madres Oriental in Mexico. He said, yes, I currently have one adult female. Well, that's cheating. He already has one.
Well, yeah,
Emerald horn pit viper.
I'll give you
sounds
$10 for it.
There's John Feely, who's in the chat, said spider-tailed horn viper.
Oh, they're
those are
incredible.
cool.
He said that's one of those ones like that one video comes out where the tail's moving. Everybody's like, I want that thing. It looks like a spider. Mangs, that's the whatever pit viper. That's pit viper. I know that one. Blue Insularis.
Oh, those are very pretty.
Those are really pretty.
Yes.
Our buddy Max has a really pretty one.
That's what I want.
They're nice. I mean, they're nice because they stay small and you can set up an awesome little enclosure with them, and you can.
You
Never
can
have to
set up
fuck
the
with them.
most beautiful bioactive enclosure for them, and they're usually really hardy eaters. They're just a great snake.
So that'd be a cool one. There's another one, Scott Wright, Crotalus horridus, 100%. Said I'd love to keep one, but my wife has drawn the line to venomous. She's supportive of my reptile nerdom otherwise, but if she leaves me, I'll have the timber the next day. Well, at least he's got his priorities.
Yeah, he's got his priorities set.
Kimberly Anderson that said the Mangshan. I'm gonna butcher this.
Mangshan?
The Mangshan. Yep. That's why we always say Mangshan instead of the. Anyways, probably not due to permitting systems, and Florida doesn't respect keepers' privacy.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Is I like the idea of a permit system. I do. I just don't like the idea of extreme one as extreme as Florida, and I don't like the idea of anybody being able to get something. Like that's my problem. Is I sit in the area of like, I think you should be allowed to own them, but then I meet people and I'm like, okay, well, you shouldn't be allowed to own one, but other people should.
Right.
So that's the problem with the permits.
Here's a guy who picked up a pygmy rattlesnake and put it in a jar because he said, I've never seen that pattern before. I didn't think it was venomous.
I have no fucking clue what this is. Let's pick it up.
It didn't bite him. Thank goodness.
Jeez.
That's a nasty little venom right there.
Really?
Yeah, it can be quite nasty.
That's another one. I do like pygmies. Some of the like dusky pygmies are really so pretty.
Pygmies are awesome. You know, it's just like in a lot of interviews, I always talk about how I love cottonmouths, and people think I'm a trailer trash piece of garbage for that. But see, cottonmouths are awesome.
They are.
They really are. And I've been fortunate enough. One of my buddies that was at Venom 1, he just retired. He would get some in his backyard that he'd ship to me, and they've kept all their banding, like they're almost basically their subadult colorations, all the way up to being 3.5 feet long now. So I think they're awesome. They eat anything. I mean, you can feed them a Snickers bar. I mean,
they've been documenting eating roadkill before, so
they're
hey, look,
just
look at
they're
this
cool
smashed
snakes.
squirrel. Yeah,
I can't get past the smell.
Yeah, the smell is terrible.
It's horrible. That's
Today,
the only drawback.
We had a group of students in today from a local school, and I did cottonmouth today, and I can pretty much walk in the house, and my wife is immediately like, "Hey, you smell like cottonmouth. It's disgusting."
It's a very very obvious smell.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these people that think it smells like cucumbers?
I have no
I don't
fucking
know.
clue.
Where did that come from?
I have no.
What I want to know is what kind of fucking cucumbers have
You
they
were
been
eating
smelling?
rotten cucumbers.
Right.
I was like,
That shit
rotten.
is horrible.
Right.
Them and copperheads. Like you can have
disgusting.
copperheads together. That is a horrible smell too. I just
It really is. But
Well,
cucumbers,
I
I don't get it.
when I was with I was chased by a cottonmouth. I mean, you're talking about the one snake whose like key thing for protection is to sit still and open its mouth. Chased you. That's like that's not what they do. Anyways, Todd Schaefer said a Gila. I want a Gila. I really do. He says knows not snake.
They're so fun.
Our buddy John Grant just got 2, and I got to hold it at Beaumont.
Yeah. The female.
One of the happiest moments
she's
ever.
super chill.
And she's beautiful.
Oh
Mhm.
god,
Her coloring.
those great.
Especially when they get those pinks in, like around the face
yeah.
and
Oh yeah,
stuff.
she's
They're
pink.
they're gorgeous.
Who was it at Conroe?
Jerry Salmon. That had
Jerry
them.
Salmon had one. They were like
Orange.
Yeah. The
neon
person,
orange and black.
person that bought those have already traded them to somebody else I know for some snakes.
Oh,
Oh,
So
wow.
those snakes, those Gilas have already moved again.
what a waste! Those things were beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I d-
disgusting. Pre-used cucumbers.
John
Jesus
Feely
Christ.
pre-used cucumbers. Okay, those whatever they were used for, they've started to pickle. Oh. Anyways, Craig Randall said Bitis gabonica, which I
yeah.
That's my favorite venomous snake ever.
Well, it's
said-
interesting that he cites Gabonica, because those are not commonly kept. West Africans are a dime a dozen, but those East African gaboons, that's an interesting pick.
He said it would require a divorce for them to get one.
Worth it.
Let's see, this person wrote in Spanish, so I'm fucked here. Oh no, this is just a trash comment that ain't even supposed to be on there. That's awesome.
Was it somebody trying to sell something?
No, it says something about God bless you.
No.
In Spanish. It's gone. Todd Autry says, I own a few Atrox, Horridus, and Veritas. Just love my croats. That sounds really dirty, Todd. You should not call them croats again. That'd be awesome.
Good.
Sean
Those little Viritus, those little Crotalis Viritus are such great snakes to train people on rattlesnake physiology, because they're all pissed off all the time. I've never
Which one
seen
is
a
that, the
Viritus
Viritus?
that's the
prairie.
prairie rattler.
Oh yeah.
And everyone I've ever dealt with has been just a complete asshole.
Yep. But they stay small enough that it's a relatively safe, quote unquote safe venomous snake to teach people hooking techniques,
That's such an adorable asshole.
That's what Russell called that Amarillo
Amarillo.
with the fucking to-go box.
And it's flip flop.
And his flip-flops.
Yeah.
Don't do that, people listening. Please don't do. If you ever see Russell catching a snake, don't do it the way he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
He had a flip top to-go box, so normally he would just put it over the snake and then slide the lid under it, and you got it. Well, he had to get on the side of a cliff, get the freaking lid under the snake without getting bitten. But he did it like it was like he's done it a million times because he probably has. But
Still don't do that.
It was interesting.
Sean McCarthy said Mambas would love to have one, but it's not worth a bite if a bite occurs. I don't know what Mamba, black or green, maybe both. I do love the Western green Mambas with those giant scales.
Yeah, the Westerns can really be beautiful. One of them the one we have on display in the Serpentarium is mint. It was a wild caught specimen. But yeah, just mint in color. And like you say, that big scalation, it's just awesome.
A couple years ago at Cody Bartolini's place, he had all 3 green Mambas, and I could see the Western. I'm like, this one is by far better than the other 2.
See, John Feely lives in. It's probably the only good thing about El Paso, but you have Atrox, you have Redis, you have Lepidus out there, the banded rock rattlers. It's like I don't know how many species of freaking.
But you're in the middle of fucking nowhere,
and it's hot. I spent the whole summer out there a couple of years ago, and it is
Actually
hot here.
funny enough, you guys talk about Cody and Mambas and stuff. Reptile Preservation Institute is our primary supplier of all of our venomous snakes that we don't need wild locality on. So Cody and Pia over there are constantly breeding mambas and different bothrops and things like that for us. And they are two of the most wonderful people I think I've ever dealt with.
Yes, I agree. And they keep their animals better than 99% of zoos out there.
Their exhibits are 1,000 times better than what I put in our serpentarium. It's just, to me, that's the bar. They set the bar as far as venomous in my personal opinion.
And I love that their house is a bed surrounded by one giant just reptile room. That's what the house is. It's just one giant.
What more do you need?
Exactly.
I don't know. They can do. I don't know if I could sleep there because those giant black mambas scare the ever-loving shit out of me. I mean, he's got some massive ones.
One that I got from Cody is the one that got me in September of 2020.
See, it was Cody's fault. He trained
it. Was Cody's fault. Absolutely.
It had bonded with Cody. And
exactly.
he wanted to go back.
Its new owner. Yeah.
It was Nathaniel.
Send me back to my old owner. I bonded with him. We used to sit on the couch and watch TV.
I actually went and took that snake off the venom line and put him on display just because he got the better of me, so he gets to retire. So it's funny, like all our mambas that are on display are really big, and then there's like this 4.5 foot, sub-adult that's out there. But yeah, I blame Cody for that bite, even though he was like 1,000 plus miles away.
Fucking his fault anyways. We all blame him. Everyone blame Cody now. Darren Watson said Gaboon Viper. He says the short, heavy-bodied snake reminds him of blood pythons. And if it was legal in his state, he'd have one.
Yeah.
I love Gaboon Vipers. That was the one non-native I've ever worked with, and I loved them before I ever worked with them. Like, it's just, to me, it's one of the best camouflage jobs of any snake on earth.
Finding them in Africa was incredible, absolutely incredible.
It's got to be
actually
so hard
see them in the wild.
Like, you just got to wonder how many you walk past if you're actually out there looking for them.
Well, I mean, the same thing with puff adders. God knows how many we walked by, but we found a handful of them, and it's just incredible. And I am the world's worst field herper, so we had some great local snake professionals and went way out in the bush and getting to see wild gaboons and wild puffs was pretty awesome.
I'd love to do that. Our buddy Corey Martin said eyelash vipers because the bright colors and they're pretty, but she definitely has no desire to keep venomous, which is good. They definitely got to know your limitations.
Absolutely.
Victor Lorena said South Carolina pygmy rattlesnakes with all the red pigment. Yeah,
absolutely.
He says he knows himself too well and he would get tagged just because of a mistake. Well, at least Our buddy Ilana said zebra cobras. Well, he could have got that one that was loose in Texas not that long ago. Could have gone and grabbed that one.
That's one snake that if I were to be bitten, I would likely die immediately.
That's not good.
I am actually allergic to that snake's venom. So I can't even typically open an enclosure with a zebra spitter in it without having to wear a respirator.
Jeez. Wow. So how did you find out you were allergic to that?
Well, they secrete, venom out in their urates and things like that. And just from years of cleaning spitting cobra enclosures with no protection, because I'm an idiot, just got me hypersensitive to that particular type of snake's venom. So I can't even smell the liquid venom. I get incredibly, incredibly ill.
That's funny. I'm over here being like, man, I can't keep dubia roaches anymore because I kept them too long, and now they make me sneeze and have a runny nose and itchy throat. And he's like, "Yeah, if I open this thing, I die." So,
yeah, no, it just if they bite me. Otherwise, it's like I can't. I'm just tearing up and I'm coughing. I can't breathe. The last time that I got a bad amount up my nose, I was like on the ground, just unable to breathe or do anything. It was pretty fun. I recommend it.
Oh, by the way, anybody, please don't do that. Let me make sure I say that because I teach high school kids and I know people aren't that smart nowadays. Our buddy Ashley Howdy over at Focus Cubes at Insularis, because how often do you get to keep a blue snake? That is true.
Yeah.
Plus,
and they come
Ashley,
in yellow too.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, I know somebody that can build you a cage.
Yeah,
for that.
She
Hey.
knows him.
She
knows him very well.
He's probably right next to you right now. He could build you a cage. Next one was Cerastes, the horned viper.
Ooh, yeah,
those are cool looking.
Those are fun.
Those are cool.
Our friend
ones.
Rick just had some blackhead bushmasters born.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So
that's a big ass snake, full grown.
Yeah, I know. I've been in this room with them before.
It's a big fucking snake.
Yeah, and they're another one that looks at you when you walk in the room too. That they're known for being like laser accurate too.
Do y'all have any bushmasters up there?
We did. We had a large old female who passed in 2019.
It's a big snake with a big ass head. That's a.
Oh yeah. It's cool when they'll bobble their head like up and down and side to side to like you were saying about pinpoint accuracy. Mm-hmm. They'll literally twitch to get exactly locked in and target.
It's like when you watch like Top Gun. It's the screen where the thing's like lining up and then it hits the plane.
Exactly.
Yeah. Our buddy Megan, you'll agree with this one. Echistrodon piscivorus. Mm-hmm. She loves cottonmouths.
Is she single?
No. And she lives in the same county as us, so she'll never get to own one.
She can't own one, yeah.
So just have to keep removing them from people's yards.
Yeah, she lives in a brand new neighborhood that was built in what has been rice fields for the last 100 years. And the people that live there just can't understand why they have all these snakes.
Yeah, they don't want nature in their nature.
Right.
What's all this nature doing here?
Yep.
All right, so Dan Fox got me with some names here. Okay, I know one of them. He said it's a tie between Bitis, rhinoceros. I know that one. All right, that's rhinoceros viper. I got that. I'm going to totally fuck this name up. Dynagikistrodon acutus.
Oh, Dynagikistrodon acutus. Yeah, the 100 pace viper from China, or the Chinese sharp-nosed viper.
Okay, yeah. I do know that. Okay, I know that one. And then Sean Gray said mansions. But so I'm going to have venomous at some point. I got to move away from here. But I'm gonna have a gaboon.
So we really liked it up in the Belton area this weekend.
Yes,
check that out. Some point. Anyway, go ahead.
What is it? Wait, what?
Belton, Texas, where we're at this weekend.
Oh, but I want a gaboon, and I wouldn't mind a really pretty copperhead. I like copperheads.
I like the gaboons.
I love gaboons. I just want a gaboon in a naturalistic environment with a bunch of leaves, and I'll never see the motherfucker ever until I just put food in there, and then just comes out and eats. But I have no urge to keep any sort of elapid at all. They scare the crap out of me.
Yeah,
I like my snakes fat and slow.
Like you like your friends.
Yeah, fat and
speak for yourself.
But I was looking with the Darren said I think Cape Coral cobras are cool looking.
They are. That's a good elapid to start with, too, because their venom is very mild. There's no anti-venom for them, but it's a mild, and I mean, you don't want to be bitten, but it's a mild envenomation. It usually doesn't require hospitalization, and they really teach you, how an elapid's body mechanics work. They're really cool snakes.
I also wanted to... Since we had this poll, it was funny. I was looking at the October issue of Herpetological magazine, and they had a poll about venomous, about people keeping them, which was weird. It said, would you ever keep pots? And of their readers, 31.6% said no, 11.1% said already do, 12% said they previously did, and then 45% said yes. And I just wonder of the 45%, what percentage should keep them? That's the problem.
Right.
So... Do you own any on your own, or is everything you have at the lab? Do you have any pet?
I mean, everything everything I have is for the lab. I mean, there's a few specimens that are really special to me um, that are, I guess, I'd quote as my own. But I mean, I don't keep any venomous at home. I really don't even keep any snakes at home anymore, because anything I have that's non-venomous is used for educational ambassadors, or as a rescue. Because we've taken a lot of animals from hoarding situations. So a lot of those usually don't have the best temperaments.
Yeah, they probably have not been held in recent time or messed
Exactly.
with or moved.
And the last thing I want is like some 6-year-old kid to get bit in the face by a big female boa constrictor.
What could go wrong?
Nothing.
John Feely asked if my thing about them being fat and slow was a joke. No, I'm serious. They're fat and slow. I mean, I know they strike very fast, but they're not going anywhere fast.
Shit, I watched Hayden's flip over backwards to try and get her.
That's a strike.
Yes.
From just all fat and slow to upside down.
But I know how far they can go.
True.
And their fat ass isn't getting across a room to me anytime soon.
I think you'd be shocked, because when they decide to move, they go away from the caterpillar type movement to a true S shape, and they will fly across a room.
We had
fast.
So our setup at our zoo where we had one was you had to walk into the room with it. It was on the floor, which was the first time I had to do that was nerve wracking, because that was my like on the job experience. Hey, go feed the gaboon viper, and you had to like walk in there and go feed the gaboon viper, which is completely different than opening a cage and feeding a snake. But I'd much rather do that than like, hey, go open this cage with a cobra in it. Like and I've never worked with cobras, but I've talked to some people. It worries me. Even though people talk about how kind of how a cobra is going to act, like they kind of do the same thing, but still, they're faster than me because I'm fucking slow. Oh, John Feely wants to know what we consider hoarding. None of us are hoarding. Don't count. If you don't count, it's not hoarding.
No.
I don't count anymore.
Just don't count them. That's why people are like, how many snakes do you have? More than 50.
Yeah, not enough.
Couple, 2, 3.
I mean, I did recently count just because I was going to clean and
don't
everything.
Count. But it's north of 50, south of 500. So you're good.
Yeah.
For now.
This particular individual had about 55 reptiles situation. In squalor. So that's where I call it a hoarding situation.
That smell has got to be horrible.
It was a very well-respected reptile person who was having some mental illness issues, and so there was, they needed a place to go. I ended up with something like 13 different box turtles alone.
Jeez.
From that, like 10 or 12 boa constrictors. I mean, it was nuts. Nothing venomous, but are
you like let down when they come in? There's nothing venomous. They're like, oh no.
No, I'm such a little bitch about a bleeding heart when it comes to those animals, and to see the shape that they were in, I'm just like, fine, let's give it a home. So we do it as often as we can. We have an inordinate amount of people try to bring us alligators all the time. That's the one thing that sends me through the roof.
That's what I find so funny, because I've lived in the South, and so like most of the states down here have alligators. So you cannot own alligators unless you have a permit, and it's not a normal thing. But then you go to some of the northern states where like you can just fucking pick up an alligator at a show and just take a big alligator home.
$10 or $50, and
oh no, we lost him. Well, hopefully he'll come back. He has the link, so he can come back. So I'll go through some of the stuff that got posted this week. Always, if he comes back, I want to talk about the snake bite picture. Like, have you seen the one of the finger that's gotten shared in like 15 million groups?
Somebody's already sent it to me since we've been on here.
I don't know what happened.
Welcome back.
I apologize for that. No clue what happened.
what technology fucks up for us on a weekly basis. We're used to this.
But yeah, anyone can get an alligator, and then they come to us and they're like, "No, it's like 6 foot long, and we never really, touched it or anything. Are you interested?" Yeah, that's what I want to deal with.
Pissed off 6 foot alligator.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that I was. Oh, so we were gonna bring up some stuff. Things that got shared on our Facebook group this week, and this one got shared on every Facebook group this week. But it's kind of fitting. It was a bite from a rainforest cat-eyed snake. I'm sure you've seen the picture.
Ooh, I'm not.
Oh, it's
I do.
It's this giant like blood blister in this person's finger. Like it's fucking gross.
It sounds gross.
See if I can share it. Wait, I'll share the screen. Yeah, it's not pretty. Share the screen. You can do it. And there we go. Anybody that's watching, you can see it's just nasty looking. But that's the snake that you people would not normally consider as like, oh no, it's a venomous snake. Kind of like the way people are with hognose snakes.
Yeah. Well,
have you guys ever heard of the book? Hold on, because I'm actually in where my little reptile library is. Venomous Bites from Non-Venomous Snakes.
No.
It's probably one of the coolest books. It was written by Scott Weinstein and Dan Keeler, but it's all about rear fang colubrids and crazy bite stories. I really, really highly recommend that book. Like if you're interested in colubrid bites that get ugly,
Yeah,
it's really cool.
that's a broadband water snake bite.
Oh, I've never seen that. The broadband water snake bite where the person's
Reese got
hands.
bitten by it on Friday and been bitten, hundreds of times before. For some reason, this one just swole up and got huge and painful. And
I just got to imagine bacteria or something got in there. I
I was
can't.
gonna say, is it a bacterial reaction?
I don't know. It went down the next day.
That's weird. Because definitely not a venomous snake.
Right.
I haven't been bit, so I have nothing to compare anything to.
I try very hard not to get bit. That's why Sean Gray makes
pain.
fun of me because I wear
Yeah.
gloves all the time.
No pain or itching, just swollen.
That's crazy.
Well, it's not that I'm not trying. I mean, yes, I'm careful, but I've had multiple opportunities to get bit though, and just hasn't happened.
You don't want to. That's why I've seen a couple posts recently in groups. People asking what snake hook do you use, and of course, there's 50 replies of just don't use a snake. Just reach in there and grab the snake. Blah blah. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the. He asked what snake hook. He didn't ask, hey, what's the best way for me to definitely get bit at some point? That's not the question.
We have one that I really like. I think Robert got it from Sean Trimbach.
What?
Snake hook.
That one snake hook that I really like. That's
I love the
Little
expand.
shorty?
like
I got
this.
that at a freaking very first Repticon we ever went to.
Oh, no, I thought that one was different. Oh,
I don't know. I like the expandable one for when I go field herping.
But the
I like that one. But my
SMS
long-
had those exact same hooks at the show
yeah,
this
I
weekend.
have a long one that I know we got from Sean as well that I really like.
I'm all for using tools, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's venomous or non-venomous. Use a fucking tool. That's one of those things where I've said it before. Like getting bit by a snake, people go, "Well, it doesn't hurt." Well, I'm sure it's not good for the fucking snake. Like it can definitely cause damage to the snake.
Again,
They're
like
gonna-
anytime you get bitten by anything like that, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep. The last thing I got bitten by was a baby scaleless corn snake. It was hanging off my finger.
Sorry.
I took a boa constrictor bite not all that long ago.
Where at? They get you on the arm or hand?
That got me on the hand, yeah. But it was the minute the snake realized what the hell was happening, it let go. That's because of the special bond we must have. But
it knows your smell.
yeah.
Yeah, because like my boa that likes to try to bite everything through the glass.
I got bit by my children's python the other day, but I had gloves on. But she bit and then latched down. I was like, these teeth may come through this leather glove. Like I can start to feel it. Like she was trying, so I was able to get the glove off and just threw her in the cage. And then she started like moving like she was gonna eat the fucking glove. I'm like, all right, luckily I was about to feed him, so I went and got a mouse and got her to let go and take the mouse.
Jeez.
But she's a fucking bitch. I hate that snake. I'm not gonna get rid of it, but she's a fucking bitch. She hates me too. Things on our Facebook group that I thought were neat. A Japanese town helps revive rare slippery species, the giant salamander. There was a picture of like these giant salamander eggs where they're working on trying to recover the giant salamanders. If parts of Asia would quit eating all their shit, maybe they'd still have it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, try and find a turtle over there.
Lana said she had a Diana boa bite her and it blistered and got infected.
Isn't that the one that happened that long ago?
I bet something like that happens because a tooth gets in there.
But I mean, instantly
is weird.
Yeah. And blister too.
You know what it is? Venomous boa. It was a hybrid.
Yeah, it was a Titan boa.
Yeah, it was a boa and a gaboon viper hybrid.
Yeah. Lana got bit by one of those at Conrail when they were running late, and she was already in a bad mood and realized that Lily had dumped all the baby sperms in the same thing. So she was having to resex them, and that one bit the fuck out of her and had a hold of her finger and wouldn't let go. I was trying not to laugh because she was already in a bad mood.
It's always funny when other people get bit.
Yes, it always
Oh,
is.
it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Ilana did post something on our group. She wanted me to make sure I mentioned it, but it was a giant katydid from Borneo that's the size of your hand, which is really cool.
That's weird.
Yeah, big ass bug. See, big ass green bug, size of your hand. Let's try to see what else got posted this week. I think that was it. That was most of the stuff that got posted on there this week. I know I had something else that I wanted to ask. Oh, I know what I want to ask. I just gotta find them. Talk amongst yourselves. Ask a question. Be useful. Make yourself pretty.
All I have to do is sit here for that. You left that one open.
Oh, I had some questions I wanted to ask, and so I wanted to start asking questions to all of our people that come on. General questions, hobby related questions, and because you do care for a lot of snakes, it's still, even though it's a job, these questions still fit as far as hobby related stuff. So let me ask a few of these, and Nathaniel, you tell me your response here, but this should be a good one. What is the best advice you've been given since you got into the hobby?
The best advice I've ever been given was from my mentor, Jack Facette, who said, there's always a better way and you should always strive to find it. There's always a better way of husbandry, better way to extract venom, better way to do all of it, and you should never be complacent.
That's great advice.
That's really good advice. That's good advice in anything.
Life, yeah.
That's because Facebook will show you how many people don't believe that's good advice because you'll hear the only way to do stuff on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
As much as I find Facebook has really helped the hobby, God, it does so many horrible things for it as well. So
think about the number of people, like I think about the way we used to keep ball pythons when, 38 years ago when I was a kid, and, look at snake husbandry today. I mean, if someone wasn't always striving to do a better job or learn more, we wouldn't have these incredible displays and incredible ways to provide good husbandry to our animals,
Yeah. And we learned so much from different parts of the hobby. I mean, all these bioactive things came from frog people, like all the idea of,
right,
look what you can do because these people with frogs do it.
Right.
This should be an interesting one too. What is the worst advice you've been given since you got into the hobby?
Oh, fuck. The worst advice.
See, that's a harder one because we try and block that shit out when it comes.
No, I know. But I have no shame. I think probably the worst advice was the first time someone, I talked about this earlier, when I was handed a snake hook and said, "Get out that mamba." And it was, my first time handling a venomous snake. That's not really advice, but it was just, man.
Yeah.
That's a horrible life lesson to learn. Here you go. You got this. It's just a fucking bite.
Yeah.
You got it.
You deal with it.
Don't let the bitey end get you. You're good. All right. What is one tip you could give keepers to help them take better care of their animals? Whether it's something you do differently or something
it's so tough for me to say that because, in a venom lab, only our animals that are on display are in naturalistic bioactive enclosures. Everything else is on paper towel and in ARS racks. And I mean, I don't really
I think
feel
you
that.
can do that and still take. There's still the things that make it taking care of them better.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know. That's a tough one because I feel like one of those dumb people that really just I don't know. I don't know. I would say, everyone should go bioactive if you can. I think that's one thing that it took me a long time to accept that whole thought process and all of it, but it's something I've never regretted since. And I think it, especially if you're going to keep venomous, it you got your own little cleanup crew in there to get rid of urates and fecals and shit. I think,
yeah.
go bioactive as much as you can with your venomous.
Yeah, if I'm going to do venomous, I'm definitely doing some sort of nice setup, bioactive, and trying to be as hands off as possible. It's and it's not always possible when you have a collection of 50, 60, 70, 80 snakes, 600 snakes, to be able obviously be able to do that, because at some point space and you'll have people out there going, well, then you shouldn't have that many snakes. Yeah, fuck those people. I want all the snakes. So,
Right.
But when you can, if you own 1, 2, 3 snakes or reptiles, whatever, you can do that. I mean, do that stuff. And we've talked about before, a lot of people get their first snake at a show from a breeder. And then a lot of breeders give them advice on how to set up their animal the way they set up their animals as a breeder, which is probably not the way we should tell them to set up their animal for their one, whatever it is they have.
Right.
So that's one thing I think we've got to do a better job of trying to show the other options for that one animal. And then who knows? Maybe they do it that one way, and then every animal they get from that point on, they set up that way, better. And maybe they'll find a way to have 50 snakes and it all be bioactive.
Yeah.
What is one big positive you see currently happening in the hobby? And I know it's not free handling.
I would say it looks like there's starting to be a lot of parity between the venomous and non-venomous keeping communities, because I think through all the years there was so much elitism in keeping venomous, but that seems, at least from what I see, which is pretty sheltered, that seems to be going away. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but it's not like it once was, in my opinion, because the funny thing is like, there's things that as a venomous keeper you can learn from people keeping all different types of animals. Like, just because you keep venomous doesn't mean you have the biggest dick in the room. I think a lot of venomous keepers need to learn some humility and learn from a lot of the non-venomous people who are doing incredibly amazing things.
We're talking. I know I got a big dick because I bought a Cobra, I got a retic, and a water monitor.
Yeah, and I bet you drive a fucking jacked up truck with huge tires, and it screams huge.
I got all 3 of those. It's I got a big dick complex issue snake. I just love folks that are like, I got a retic. Oh, that's great. What are you gonna do with that when it gets 15 foot? And they have no plan.
Right.
No plan.
Yep.
You don't need one. Like, just drop it off at a rescue.
Drop it off of that angry alligator.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's like. And I never want to say certain people, like, that certain animals shouldn't be in the hobby, because I definitely feel like, just like venomous, retics, and alligators, I think alligators should be in the hobby. They're definitely not my problem is, one, the northern states are the ones that are buying alligators. You can't put that motherfucker outside because it gets a little cold up there. So that's who's the one. There's the one.
I'll tell you one good, like. Oh, go ahead.
Well, there's the one. Was it Bubba the alligator that like lives in the dude's basement, where he decked out the entire basement?
Yeah.
It's nice. It's got lighting and water and everything, but that's like 1 out of a trillion people have done that.
Right.
Yeah, because it could be like Rex that Emily and Ed have that's stunted because the guy kept it in a freaking number 10 wash tub its whole life.
Yes.
Up until she
if
got
it's
it.
Not getting, it don't need no UVB. I mean,
it'll only grow as big as this enclosure, right?
Right.
Like a goldfish.
Right. Oh my God.
I just we
We
laugh,
actually-
but
I
then
have
we're
a-
like, it's fucking true. All this shit happens.
Yeah,
True, though.
right.
I actually have a large constrictor positive story that I can share. We got a call from this guy, and he said, my little baby, I can't care for him anymore, and I'd like to donate him to you. And I said, okay, well, what is it? And he said, 150-pound, 15-foot long Burmese python. And I said, okay. So he brings it down with his entire family. This was an entire family affair. And we got to meet this Burm, which of course was as sweet as pie. And what had happened was he had to give it up because his kids were going off to college and he had his back fused. So he couldn't care for it anymore.
Wow.
Mm.
So he turned it over to us and we started using it as an ambassador. And they come in once a month just to say hi to their
Well,
old
that's
pet
cool.
snake.
Aw.
Do you ever
'Cause it
ever
was
be like,
a
can
member
y'all
of
bring a
their
rabbit?
family.
Be like, hey, can y'all bring a rabbit when you come? Let's
Yeah,
just help us
Bring
feed
it
this thing.
rabbits. God damn
Right.
it. No, I thought that was a sweet story because the only reason they got rid of their animal was he couldn't move it anymore. And and then to have him stop in all the time and make sure that his snake was doing well, I don't know. You don't see or hear that kind of positive shit anymore.
No.
It's
No.
like,
No.
so I thought I'd
So
waste
you
5
have-
minutes and explain that.
so you have rescue. You do several rescues. I'm assuming, yes, you see animals in horrible shape, but how often do you see ones that are just like obese, just
Oh God!
love
Well,
too much?
funny enough that Burm is overweight. I mean,
Yeah.
not super bad, but we put it on a diet. What we've seen animals in some of the most disgusting situations, and a lot of times what we see is underfed.
Yeah.
But I could really share a gross story with you if you guys want
Go
to hear
for
it.
Do.
All right.
I
So
haven't
there
eaten dinner
was
yet.
our sulcata that we got. He's 15 years old. He was owned by a paranoid schizophrenic, and the young man hadn't shown any signs of mental illness when he got the tortoise as a baby. So he raised it up, and then as he got older, his mental illness started to show. And the tortoise was actually kept in a kid's swimming pool and fed human feces
Holy
as
shit!
its diet.
Literally.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So the plastron of the tortoise was all eaten away from the all the bacteria and everything in the
Oh.
feces, and we got that tortoise, I'll say, up and running, and he's one of our star ambassadors with kids. But that tortoise was literally fed human shit for the last 2 years of its life before it came to us.
Holy
Oh,
crap!
wow.
That's insane. That's I had a buddy.
And the only
who-
reason, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the only reason we know is because when animal control came in there to take the tortoise, he was shitting in the baby pool.
Oh my God.
I can't.
See,
It's that level of animal abuse. I mean, was horrific, and it took time to get that tortoise to want to eat what it naturally would.
Yeah, I bet.
This stuff tastes too
What?
good. Can you
there's-
give me that
can you put some
shit?
corn? Can you put some corn in this?
Yeah.
When I was a cop, I could deal with anything: blood, vomit, urine. If there was a turd in the room, I'm done. I'm out. If it's a human shit,
Yeah.
I'm gone. I'm not doing it. I don't know what it is about human shit, but
Just needed a tortoise to clean it up for you.
yeah.
Old Jim, the shit eating tortoise.
And
The
I
shit-
think it was because, like, when I was a brand new rookie, I arrested this lady and she shit in the back seat of my car, and then proceeded to smear it everywhere.
Wow.
And we
And
had to
she
have.
grew. She ended up becoming my wife.
Yeah, no, no.
That was the moment I knew.
Not gonna fucking.
She was actually a 5th grade teacher
Oh,
who had surgery and gotten addicted to pills and had went off the fucking deep end. And
Yeah, if you start rubbing shit all over the back of a police car, stuff has gone wrong in your life.
Yes.
That's definitely
And from then
sign.
on, I mean, it couldn't get that smell of that car. We had to have a decontamination company because she was Hep C positive.
Oh, well, wonderful.
Right.
So we had to have a crime scene decontamination company come out and decontaminate that whole brand new patrol car. And it just wasn't ever right again after that.
That's the new person gets that car every time.
Yeah. Well, I was the new guy.
Oh, so talking
Jesus.
about fat or overfed animals, not shit-fed animals. A buddy of mine took a berm from a guy. It was we put a tape measure on it. This male berm was 18 foot long and around 200 pounds.
Woo.
It went on a diet. It went on a big diet once my friend got it, and he dropped I think like 75 pounds at least on it. But yeah, when the first time he showed it to me, he's like, "Well, that's a big old female," and he's like, "That's a male." Like, that's a really fucking huge male. But I imagine underfed. That's one thing people don't think about, overfeeding, but that is definitely an issue, especially with snakes.
yeah.
That's the only interaction you get with your snake.
It drives me nuts, the amount of people that overfeed, because it makes me think, like, not that I'm smarter, but think about what the fuck happens in the wild. Like, oh, a medical grade rat walks by every 3 days. No, that's not what fucking happens.
I was in a
I should
group
have
yesterday.
said laboratory grade rat. Sorry.
Yeah. I was in a group yesterday and somebody was talking about how their corn snake struck the mouse and killed it but didn't eat it. And I bet 15 people asked, well, how much did the mouse weigh?
That's those people that own ball python.
Yeah. And I'm like, about that fucking much. Here you go.
It weighed as much as a fucking mouse.
Yeah.
I don't do grams. Granted,
Somebody did ask too, did you feed it on its normal feeding day?
Oh wow.
Fucking A.
Our snakes get fed whenever I'm like, Rachel, when's the last time you fed the snakes?
Oh, hey, I have.
No, our
been a couple
snakes
weeks.
get fed when they're supposed to. Don't even
yeah.
go with
I
that shit.
have rats in the fridge. I probably need to feed out.
Yeah.
They'll probably get done tomorrow. I'm not doing it tonight. I'm watch.
Like, I need to get some jumbo.
Watch baseball when we're done with this.
It's a
But
good game.
don't tell me anything.
I'm watching.
I got it recorded.
I got it up on here the
Don't
whole
say
time.
shit. If it's a good game, you're probably happy because your team's winning. Don't tell me anything.
Did they win yesterday?
No, they lost.
I thought so.
Oh, go Braves.
I'm gonna kick you in the dick. And then
Fuck
get
y'all.
banned from
I'm just
Facebook
gonna
Hey,
for
did you know saying you'll kick somebody in the dick on Facebook will get you kicked off for 24 hours?
telling your own wife you'll kick her in the dick?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, I thought
I
you-
told Nathaniel, not Nathaniel, but other. It was a different Nathaniel.
Yeah.
He made a joke about us having another kid, and I said, if we have another kid, I'm gonna come kick you in the dick. And I didn't write out dick. I put D and then a bunch of little symbols. Fucking Facebook took it upon themselves to be offended for him and kick me off for 24 hours.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck?
You're such a dick, James.
Don't say dick. They'll kick you off of Facebook for 24 hours. Actually, take that back. That was because also about 2 months ago, there was a post that said, how can you scare someone with 5 words or whatever, or 4 words, whatever it was. And it said Christians are related to monkeys. And that also apparently upset Facebook as well. So
Is our guest still here?
he's still here. He's listening to me bitch about Facebook.
Yeah.
Fuck Facebook. There was something I wanted to ask him, and I went off on that rant, and then we talked about baseball, and then I forgot. Oh, I know what it is. So your record keeping, I saw in one video, because of different clients and all, you have to keep insane records on your animals, talking about having to measure food and all, but you have to keep records like shed, clean, feeding, everything, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's
And then if there's like necropsy data, anything like that, but it just helps us because it takes out the human, element of, oh, did we feed that rack? When did we last feed that rack worth of snakes? Blah, 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 blah. We can just go to the computer and boom, boom, boom. All right, they were fed on this date. This snake rejected a prey item. This snake was opaque at the time that we went to feed. We can see all of that data. And that's important because when you build a batch of venom, you're extracting multiple days and things like that to build up your batch. And, we need, if there's some weird bacteria that ends up in the venom, anything like that, we need to be able to trace back from that batch where something went wrong.
Oh, I thought of a few questions I had actually. So speaking of that, how long is that venom good for before you go through the whole dehydration process and turn it into powder?
It starts deteriorating the minute it leaves the snake's gland.
Oh shit,
Oh, wow.
that's quick.
So it can actually, it can actually really turn bad very quickly. It's and it just depends, ambient temperature, the temperature of the glass, etc. But typically we try to get through our snakes quickly, like you had mentioned earlier. You saw how quick we try to work through them, and then we flash freeze that venom until we're ready to work with it again.
Oh, cool. So another thing I had wondered. So many of the snakes that you've got have got hemotoxic venom, and we know that the hemotoxic venom also helps break down food prior to swallowing and digesting. Do you notice any difference in, this is going to be a weird one, but in the poop of snakes that have been milked versus snakes that have not been milked? Like, does it not break down as much or anything like that?
I've never noticed anything about it.
I just always wonder how much. I wonder how much of the digestion is done from the venom, and if they're being milked and they don't have as much venom or whatever. I don't. Just wondered.
No, unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about that.
You can't tell me about snake poop. What the hell do we have you on here for?
I know.
I can tell you might be able to feed it to a tortoise. I know a tortoise. Although it doesn't surprise me that this guy fed his shit to the tortoise.
Too soon.
It doesn't surprise me after I've seen my tortoises want to eat dog shit. They love eating dog shit. I'm like, stop eating dog shit.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
I love when people post on tortoise pages like, my tortoise ate dog shit. All right, welcome to the club. What the fuck do you want? You're good.
Sean just posted a video of him trying to get Kona in her house at night.
Big ass Aldabra.
Yeah.
I saw someone post on a group the other day. I was like, how do I get the green stuff off of my tortoise? Quit feeding it. I don't know. They turn, their mouths turn green. Unless they're like growing algae somehow on the damn tortoise, and that's a completely different issue.
Brush its teeth.
Get it to gargle with mouthwash. If you just feed it shit, it won't get a green stain on its mouth.
Exactly.
Unless it's baby shit. So, all right.
This
Y'all have any
really
more
took
questions?
a turn to the shit.
I know. It's kind of our theme.
Yeah.
Shit or dicks. We're gonna go one way or the other. Got any good dick stories? I mean, any other questions? Nope.
No.
Nothing. I was full of questions. Okay.
You asked some of the questions I was thinking, so
Did it. Good. I'm better than you. Wait, what?
you
Nathaniel, I want to say thank you for coming on. If people want to get in touch with you, find out, come by and visit, because you do have that whole like little zoo type area there. What is the best way they can do all that?
You can email me at nate@mtoxins.com or get us on Instagram or Facebook.
And like I said, go to YouTube. There's Dave Coffin's been there. Emily's been there. Several other people have been there. Check it out. You definitely should go by in person and see the setups are awesome. I remember seeing Dave's video like a year and a half ago when it first opened.
Yeah, I had Rachel watch it today.
Yeah, the video it looks great.
No, Tracy.
Robert, if you want to get a hold of you, just tell him to send smoke signals or something.
Sure.
Lone Star Reptile Racks. Hey, if you've got a whole closet full of PVC, send it this way.
Yeah.
Anybody just sitting on giant stacks?
I should have
PVC.
a shitload of it in about 2 weeks.
Why are we back on shit again?
A crap ton.
That's a tortoise ate a crap ton.
A metric
Shit ton.
A
metric shit ton.
Yes.
What's more, a metric shit ton or a metric fuck tongue? Fuck tongue? Well, that's different.
An ass ton?
An ass ton? That's a small amount. That's not as much.
Is that less?
Metric shit ton is more than an ass ton, but I think a fuck ton is more than a shit ton.
I would say a fuck ton's probably.
Fuck ton's a lot.
Yeah.
These are metric units, people. You can't argue with science. Anyways, if you want to get, let's get off the shit. Here we go. If you want to get a hold of me, it is simply_serpents on Instagram or simply serpents on Facebook. Oh, I did want to mention one thing before I go. Fucking Max sending me shit. He knows I'm doing a podcast. The NPR, Morelia Python Radio, is having a live episode tomorrow. It is their 10th anniversary of that podcast. It's a great podcast. It's been around for 10 years. They're kind of the one reptile podcast that started and then just never stopped, as along with the other 5 trillion ones that started and stopped about 2 months into it. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, go watch the NPR live podcast. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, a lot of the podcasts have Patreons. We have a Patreon. Not throwing that out there because I want money, but I do want money. But if you listen to podcasts, understand that most of the podcast people out there aren't making money off of this. We kind of just do it. And if you enjoy listening to a podcast every week and they have a Patreon, give like $3 a month to them. It'll help them out. I'm not saying give it to me, but if you want to give it to me, feel free. But you pay for cable so you can watch cable. You pay for satellite. You pay for internet so you can do all these things. Help out the folks putting out the stuff you're actually listening to. And if you enjoy it, give them a little bit. You don't have to give them a ton, but every little bit helps because it's not cheap to do this stuff all the time. I mean, we just switched over to a whole new server because we hopefully will be adding a few more podcasts soon. Yep. Rachel. So yeah, that was just my PSA for all podcasters. Help them out. Join the Patreon. If you want to get a hold of us, we are the Reptile Gumbo Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and at gmail.com and on Patreon. Don't forget to go to our monthly giveaway. I forgot to mention our monthly giveaway. We had a lot of people join the giveaway last week after I bitched y'all for not doing it. That's awesome. But it is being given away by Venom Life Gear. They're giving away that Venom Life mandala that I'm still pissed off I can't win. And $50 on anything on their website. And they have a bathing suit. So you can buy a bathing suit if you want a Venom Life Gear bathing suit.
A great jacket.
I think they have you can get you a 2-piece bikini. That is a nice jacket.
Did Brent model that bikini?
No, thank God. If he did, no one would buy
If
that.
we asked him.
Okay.
No.
Should definitely ask.
It was bad enough to see him in those tight ass
snake pants,
snake leggings at 2 Conroes ago.
That was hilarious.
That he then auctioned off and JT bought.
No, Blake
Wilson. Blake Wilson bought them. That's even worse. There's no telling what Blake did with those things. Anyways, that is it for our show. Nathaniel, if you'll hang around, thanks everybody for listening. We will be back next Wednesday, and then after that, hopefully we go back to Tuesdays. But next Wednesday, after kids quit ruining our lives, we'll be back on Tuesdays. Goodbye.